Hello, if you want to watch exclusive lemon content on What If Naruto, then go to my Boosty. The first link in the description here contains such hot stories for adults, such as What If Naruto was a daddy for Sarada, or Kushina and Mikoto vulgar Naruto mommies. Follow the link and enjoy. I'm waiting for you.
Miss an upload. Now wasting no more time. Let's begin. When NAR opens his eyes abruptly, he discovers that he is in a sort of city. He surveys his surroundings and is struck by the wonders of art, craft, and engineering. He would have kept searching until someone called out to him. When Naruto turns around, he sees a man wearing unusual battle armor with golden wings protruding from the back. Greetings, boy. I hope you have enjoyed the scenery around, but it's time for business, the man says. Who are you? Inquired A, shocked and inquisitive NAR. As he motioned for Naruto to accompany him toward a sizable structure, Michael said, I'm the Archangel Michael. Come, we have a lot to talk about regarding your death and an offer you really wouldn't want to refuse. Returning to the mortal plane, something inside of Haku boiled when she saw his teammates throw someone who somewhat resembled her off the bridge. She attacks the boy with duck hair with hellish rage, charging relentlessly into battle with a ferocity never seen in her before. Sakura yelled, Sasaki-kun, as she witnessed Haku mercilessly assault Sasaki. Zabuza and Kakashi are fighting to the point of exhaustion. Just as Kakashi is about to use summoning jutsu, Zabuza kicks him to the ground. Zabuza stabs Kakashi with a kana, pinning him to the bridge by his shoulder before he can rise to defend himself. As Zabuza prepared to decapitate Kakashi, he said, I don't know what happened between that boy and Haku, but I'm going to have to deal with it for the rest of my travels. Zabuza hears applause on one side of the bridge. Before he can react, he notices God as he looks toward the clapping. Zabuza asked, Gato, what the hell are you doing here? As he prepared to murder Kakashi with his hired muscle laughing. To themselves, God declared, I've decided I'm making budget cuts and you're that cut. Zabuza said, the classical double cross as he released Kakashi. As he prepares for battle alongside Haku, Zabuza remarked, Looks like it's your somewhat lucky day, Kakashi. I'm no longer your enemy, but Haku would most likely kill you for hurting the block. God licked his lips and said, Kill the men and take the girls. I'll have fun with them tonight. Before I let you lot have fun with them. On the bridge, the mercenaries prepare to battle the ninja. A bright light is shining between the two groups before anyone can start fighting. Then, an unidentified figure began to emerge. A young adolescent boy with long, brilliant golden blonde hair and a highly developed athletic body and armor that flaunts his well-muscled arms is revealed as soon as the light finally goes out. The entire set of armor was a deep shade of silver. He wore black pants with shinwards, plated bracers over his forearms, and a symbol of a hand holding a sword in the center of the chest guard. As he moves behind the mercs, a slightly alarmed Gato exclaims, Who the hell are you? Naruto pulled out a sword with a distinctive design and declared, My name is Naruto, Uzumaki Namikaze, and I'm the Avenging Angel. Prepare to die. The blade appeared light and well made with two edges and a cross guard. A golden eagle is engraved on the handle and attached to the blade as his mercenaries charged. At Naruto as he prepared to fight, God yelled, Whatever you aren't killing no one. Get him, boys, and make him suffer. Whoever brings me, his head gets double the reward. Zabuza stops Haku before she can intervene to save her love. A worried Haku said, Master, what are you doing? Naruto is about to be killed. Zabuza pointed to the blonde and said, I don't think so, young Haku. I have a feeling he's going to kill them. Look. Returning to the conflict, NAR is battling the mercenaries with methods and strategies that are unprecedented in the shinobi community. In addition to his martial arts training, he is using sword play in his bare hands to rip the mercenaries to pieces. After killing a spearman, he steals his spear and uses it to murder additional mercenaries. With a double skewing, he kills 2 of the remaining mercenaries by hurling the spear at them. He draws a trench knife, removes his sword, and slashes through the remaining mercenaries. NAR disables God by flinging his trench knife into his spleen, preventing him from fleeing. Then, NAR flips God onto his back end, draws his trench knife. "Spare me, please. I'll give you anything." A terrified God yelled as he began to tremble. NAR heated his trench knife and tore off God's pants, saying, "Time to die, God. But I'm not going to kill you. Oh no, before you die, I'm going to take what makes you a man." After that, NAR used the heated weapon to gradually castrate God. God lets out a painful scream as his manhood is severed. After that, NAR tosses his manhood to a famished dog who then devours it. Then, he uses the former man's own pants to clean his knife of the short man's blood. Holding his manhood in fear of losing it to the blonde, Zabuza thought, "Note to self, don't piss him off or make rape-based threats towards his lovers." And Narukung explained a tearful Haku. Narad looked into Haku's tearful eyes and said, "Yes, Haku-chan." Haku leapt into Naruto's arms and planted a kiss on his lips, saying, "I love you." The two begin to make out. Haku asks as the two stop making out. A concerned Haku inquired, "What happened to you and how are you alive?" "I died and went to heaven where they gave me a second chance at life as the avenging angel," stated Naruto. Haku inquired, "What was it like?" Naruto remarked, "It was like a city of the future," turning to face his quivering former teammates. "Pardon me, but I have a traitorous team to deal with," Naruto said, releasing Haku and stomping toward his team with a killing intent he had never felt before. "Stay back, demon." Kakashi never got a chance to finish his sentence before Naruto's rising uppercut knocked him out. Sasaki never had a chance to finish his sentence before Narad struck him in the stomach, knocking him unconscious. "Dope. Where did you get those powers and skills? I demand you to tell me. They should belong to Uchiha and Elite Lead. You hurt Sasuke Kanuta." Sakura was struck in the throat and then struck again in the head, knocking her unconscious before she could finish her tirade. After that, Narad seals them in with a special prisoner seal. Narad walked over to Zabuza and Haku and said to himself, "That takes care of that. Now to help rebuild a bridge, a nation, and then head back home." Naruto said, "Hey, Browless, I have a proposition for you." As Haku laughed at his shot at Zabuza, who had a tick mark on it and no eyebrows, Zabuza muttered, "Damn disrespectful, Gakis." Zabuza inquired, "What's the proposal?" Naruto said, "You come to the village hidden in the leaves." And the two gave him a startled look. As he started to get started, Zabuza said, "Let me think about it. But first, let's clean up the bridge that recent woman made with her goons and help get this village back into shape." "No need," Narad remarked as he extracted the prisoner's scroll containing his betraying teammates. As he frees his allies from the seal, NAR said, "Release." They appear to have odd silver collars around their necks as they stand in front of them. Nero gave the order, "You three get to work cleaning this bridge of these bodies." "Jinon, you don't give us orders," Kakashi declared in a defiant manner. "Yeah, Baka, you don't give us orders," Sakura yelled. "Yeah, as if a loser like you can give us orders, especially an elite like me." "The most likely gay," Sasaki remarked. "I don't think you have a choice because you see when I sealed you in that prison seal, it placed those peculiar collars around your necks that if you're so happen to disobey, they will generate a punisher of the subjects. Deepest fears that will beat you, try to kill you, or even try to rape you. So I suggest you clean these bodies off the bridge, or that Punisher will make you its ___, said Naruto with great sadness. Unable to speak, the three began cleaning up quickly out of fear of being killed or sexually assaulted. A seductive Haku put her arms around his chest and remarked, "I like a man who can take charge like you can narc him." An enraged Kakashi declared, "Nar, I will see you dead for this." With a stoic yet irate tone, Nar uttered, "You already killed me, you bastard. Now get to cleaning." As he, Naruto, and Haku walked to the village and back to Tsuna's house, dragging God along. Zabuza thought, "He's approved in my book." Naruto gags Gato and ties him face first to a post before knocking him unconscious. When they enter, they see Nar and Tsuna and his family preparing to go to war for Wave and Naruto-Nissan. "You look different, and you have a back," Inari said, glancing at the person with his brother figure. "Why is Zabuza with you, and who is that gorgeous girl?" Inari asked, glancing at the three in question. Even though Zabuza would have killed his father, Tsunami blushes at his muscular appearance and must admit that he was attractive to any woman her age. A curious Tsuna said, "Yeah, Gaki, what's with the new changes and these two being with you?" Nar replied, "It's a long explanation, so get comfortable," as he described what had happened to him. Naruto starts by explaining that Zabuza is here and isn't killing Tsuna because God betrayed him and left him outside with his balls severed. Naruto disclosed that his betrayed teammates killed him by repeatedly stabbing him. Naruto describes his death in detail as well as how he appears to everyone. Heavenly flashback. As Naruto and the Archangel Michael enter a room filled with statues of what appear to be great warriors and champions, he spots a man wearing white robes with white hair and a build that would make most people appear weak. The greeting was, "Hello, Nar. My name is Drake, the Great Storm Warrior." Drake bowed to Nar, and Nar did the same. Nar said, "It's nice to meet you, Drake-sama. So what does heaven have to offer me that's so important?" he asked, looking at the Archangel and the Storm's warrior with curiosity. Naruto Uzumaki, the heavens have seen your life, every beating, every savage attack. You have been stabbed, burned, and overall brutalized. Yet, you remain pure of heart and push on with a warrior spirit like no other. We offer you a chance to become an avenging angel and angelic superhuman warrior with incredible fighting abilities and powers. You would have semi-immortality, phenomenal strength, speed, agility, and endurance. You would be able to manipulate more than chakra. You would be trained to use mana, Hammon, and Ki alongside chakra in fields that you missed out in when you were alive in the ways of combat. You will be trained by some of the greatest of warriors in human history and by the Archangel Michael here. When we're done, you're going to be one of, if not the most skilled fighter in your world," answered and clarified Drake, surprising the heavens revere. A stoic Nero asked, "Do I get to return to Earth?" In response to a startling response from Naruto, Drake said, "Yes, you do, but in an even stronger physical form, and this form will be pleasing to the one known as Haku and other possible lovers, who will also gain a form of immortality from you?" Michael laughed when Naruto said, "But Drake-sama, Haku is a boy. I'm only interested into girls." Actually, Naruto, Haku is a girl. She just hides her gender so she wouldn't be violated by the men in her company like last then. Honorable Shinobi, stated Michael. A shocked Naruto remarked, "How well, I guess you know something new every day." As he considered his chances of this, and recalled the previous assaults and beatings on both himself and other people, Naruto stood in a prepared stance and said, "I'll do it. What do I have to do?" "First, Naruto, I will send some angelic essences into you to make you superhuman. Michael clarified as he started to direct angelic energy into his hand. When he was done, he threw the ball of angelic energy at NAR. As a result, Naruto's form underwent a kind of metamorphosis, shattering, tearing, and reforming muscle and bone in a cycle that made him stronger, faster, more resilient, and all around more powerful than before. Naruto's body was now well muscled and chiseled, and he stood at 6 feet 0 inches in and weighed 240 pounds. His manhood is larger than it was when he was alive, and he even flushes when he looks down. He has longer hair. His eyes were still the same color, albeit a little darker. Now with that completed Naruto, starting today until 3 minutes are up in the mortal world, you would be trained in combat, tactics, weapons, etiquette, the use of the energies that have been unlocked in your very spirit, and many more, stated Drake when he noticed that Naruto as he speaks. A perplexed Naruto remarked, but Drake-sama 3 minutes doesn't seem long enough as Drake and Michael laughed. Worry not, Naruto, 3 minutes in heaven is the equivalent of 3 centuries. Time is slower than a snail's pace here. Don't worry about aging as it is suspended forever in heaven. Don't worry about Haku. She's doing fine. She's taking out her frustrations out on your snake-bitten teammates with the Imperduca being as stunted as he is. He's probably getting his head beaten in by Haku right now. Ha-ha. Summed up Michael as he giggles at Drake gathered the warriors who would train Naruto and said, "Okay, enough banter. Let's get started." As Naruto waited for his teachers, he asked, "Hi, Sensei. Who is my first set of teachers?" "Your first sets of teachers are men of tremendous reputations. The first being King Richard the Lionheart, another whose discipline and determination made him an extraordinary legend of his people. His name is Admiral Ye. Finally, the last is from a culture who is not too different from yours. His name is Hattori Hanzo," replied Drake. Naruto questioned, "Are they ninja?" "No, Hattori is, but not Yi or Richard. They are from cultures who don't employ ninjutsu. Richard is from a culture that employs warriors known as knights. They're highly trained warriors that are more combat-oriented than ninjas and similarly combated to samurai. They carry weapons unlike yours. Admiral is from a society similar to yours, but more so about hard work, dedication, and achievement, but with honesty is in less regard. Hattori Hanzo was a fierce samurai before he became a ninja. He used many ninja and samurai weapons seen in your world," replied Michael. NAR inquired, "Do they fight with jutsu?" "No, NAR, they don't fight with any spiritual energy at all. They fought using their own fighting abilities, skills, and weapons," replied Drake. Michael remarked, "Ah, here they are." Then the 3 men entered the room. One appeared to be in his 40s, another in his 30s, and the final one appeared to be in his 50s. The 3 had different heights and ages. The oldest of the 3 is dressed in a garment that resembles a yukata, but has more leg room. It consists of black pants, boots that look to be made of leather, and armor that is plated from shin to toe. He had bracers on his forearms that served as hand protection, a lion in the middle of his robe, and what appeared to be a protective headband on his head. The other man wore armor and clothes similar to those of a mountain mercenary. The final man wore armor similar to what Naruto is more accustomed to, with an Oni mask covering his face. The older man with the lion on his chest said, "Hello, we're going to be training you. My name is Richard the Lionheart. According to the second oldest, I'm Admiral Ye." The youngest said, "I'm Hattori Hanzo. It is nice to meet all of you masters. Where do we begin?" asked Narrate. Admiral Ye responded, "We will start with martial arts and weapons. Then tactics and strategy," Hattori remarked. "We will be drilling you in these for 60 years, Richard declared. As they headed to the training ground, Hattori said, "Now, let's get started." As Narrett and the three warriors departed, Drake remarked, "Nero, meet us back here after you finish your training with them. We will give you the next set of teachers." Admiral Ye, Richard the Lionheart, and Hattori Hanzo rigorously trained Narrett in martial arts, weapons, and strategies for the next 60 years. He had received instruction in swordplay as well as in the use of bladed weapons, sticks, clubs, archery, and thrown weapons. Naruto learned jujitsu, ikujutsu, kapajutsu, and taijutsu as a result of his unarmed combat training with Hattori. Naruto received night unarmed combat training from Richard. He received Korean fighting arts training from Admiral E. In terms of tactics and strategy, all three have taught NAR how to use guerrilla tactics, assault tactics, night fighting, stealth and infiltration, and siege tactics. Under them, he had developed great skill in every area. Drake also provided him with extensive training in science, mathematics, engineering, blacksmithing, construction, calligraphy, politics, and the history of the elemental nations. During this time, Michael has taught him how to use mana, Hammond, and ki in combat. As Narrett returns to the room where Drake is waiting for him, the 60 years are up. Alright, NAR, you will have 2 sets of teachers training you, and a final set will be waiting for you. After 120 years, Drake replied. Drake said as 2 husky Baton men entered. Bruiser team and Fujitsu team may come in. A group of professionals who sought to specialize in combat are directly behind them. The man in light samurai armor said, "Hello, NAR. My name is Kanero of the Chatino." The man in light armor said, "I'm Dor Brian Nikotic. Nice to meet you, NAR." Kanero bowed to NAR and stated, "Duin, and I will be teaching you the art of war wrestling and heightened hand-to-hand combat." "I will not fail your expectations," Naruto said, bowing to both of them before turning to face the opposing team. This group had brushes and ink on hand. "Hello, NAR. My name is Ryuzen Yuzuzwaki." The man in red samurai armor introduced himself. The man in crimson light armor said, "Hello, NAR. My name is Goken Yuzuzwaki." "Hello, Naruken. My name is Kosa Uzumaki, and I'm your mother." The woman dressed in green said, "My mother," uttered as startled Naruto gazing at the woman before him. "It's true, Naruto. Let me explain. You see, Narrett, your mother is from a clan related to the Senu and Yukaya clan called the Uzumaki clan, who were from the Shinju clan. The Uzumakis were well known for their mastery of the sealing arts and kinjutsu. They were then attacked by the combined forces of Iowa, Kumo, and Kirin scattered across the nation. Some are in hidden fortresses hidden from the world. Some are in Konoha in hiding, using advanced henge that can fool even the mighty Sharingan. Your mother here is of royal blood, making you a prince." Drake clarified. A dejected Narrett asked, "Mother, did you and father abandon me to Konoha to be beaten and treated as a scourge?" As NAR discovers that the 4th Hokage is his father, and that he sealed the beast inside of him. Kusha clarified, "No, Sochi, me and your father died during the attack and sealing the Kaibi." "Yes, Narrett. Your father is the Yandam Hokage who sealed the Buju inside of you. But he did that so you'd be powerful enough to face Muiha in combat, as he was the one who extracted the Buju inside of me, control her with his sharing gun that attacked the village. Your father fought him off, but had no other choice but to seal the Buju in you. The Buju saw us try to seal her into you and set a claw out to stab you and prevent the sealing. But me and your father had shielded you with our bodies. We died that day," explained Kusha to Narrett. A curious Narrett said, "Hey Drake, I was meaning to ask what happened to Kaibi anyway. I can answer that since Kabi didn't kill anyone in a malicious fashion, she's not in hell. However, because of her hatred being untamed, she couldn't enter heaven. So, I suggested she be transformed into a ninja on Musha and transported to Tundra Country, explained Michael. As they headed to the training ground, Narrett remarked, "Oh well, let's get training." ONR, the last set will be a set of warrior sages of the past for your last, and I will be training you along with them for your 180 years. Drake said. NAR said, "See you then." As he made his way to the training area, Dorini Nikotik and Kanero, who have spent 8 decades honing Naruto's skills in unarmed combat in areas of his strength and agility, have been training him in war wrestling and enhanced hand-to-hand combat. The Uzumaki teams trained him extensively in all forms of Fujitsu, including sealing, combat, constructive, trapping, space-time, and containing. The Bruiser War Wrestling and Heightened Combative teams, as well as the Uzumaki Fujitsu team, began to depart after the 120 years were over. After a brief reunion, Narrett and his mother bid each other farewell. Before departing to be with her family in the afterlife, Kusha also warned Narrett not to approach Jiraiya, the Toad Sage, because he would take advantage of his labors, just as he did with his father. He even put physical and mental seals on him, which were broken when he died. Together with any of his wives, she instructs him to give her grandchildren. As Michael and Drake laugh at his mother's request, Naruto blushes. Drake and a number of warrior sages stand by the training area that has been set aside for them. On the field, NAR encounters his last instructors, the masters of the warrior sage arts of the lion, hawk, wolf, polar bear, and Wolverine. NAR is left speechless by the people he sees. NAR, I would like you to meet the warrior sages that will be teaching in their sage arts. Drake replied, Hashiyama Senju of the Senju clan, the honored valiant lion sage. Taber Senju, the tenacious polar bear sage. Kenshin Uchiha, lost older brother of Moa and warrior of clan Uchiha, and Makoto Yukaya, the shuriken mistress of Konoha, the hawk battle sages. Kumaki, the savage Wolverine sage, your ancestor. Tsukumo Hitaki, the fierce and ferocious wolf sage. Introducing Drake. I didn't know you were a sage of the lions. Hashiyama. I know you were a sage, but I thought you gained that title through training in the wilderness. Not with the lions, nor did I know you Makoto Obozen to be one. Nor you Taber Senju. Narrett replied in disbelief. Yes, that is what the history books claim, but in reality, I trained with the lion warrior sages and attained unprecedented levels of mastery in their sage arts. I did explain Hashiyama because they wanted me to keep my training a secret, Tobarama stated. The polar bears kept to themselves about it. Tsukumo looked at Narrett and remarked, but to my understanding, my son had betrayed and killed you. Yes, he did, but he is right now most likely getting his ass handed to him by Zabuza Momochi of the Seven Swordsmen right now, stated Naruto. Let me guess, my great-grandson had stabbed you in the back, didn't he? Replied Kenshin. And I rated Makoto said, along with a girl named Sakura Haruno. NAR responded angrily. Yes, on to business then, so you can get some sweet payback on those bastards, said Kumaki. Yeah, exclaimed Narrett. Oh, hell yeah. We're rocking and rolling now, said an excited Hashiyama. Tobarama remarked. This should be interesting. Makoto gave Kenshin an affirmative nod when he said, Let's do this. The blonde nods in agreement as Makoto says, I disowned Sasuke in spirit. Tell him that for me, Naruto. Naruto underwent the most rigorous training for the last 180 years, learning the corresponding elemental jutsus, jutsu, and fighting techniques from Drake and the sages. With Hashiyama teaching him blind combat, they have all become experts in their respective fields. He is being taught ballistics and marksmanship by Kenshin and Makoto using the bow and arrow as well as the kunai and other throwing weapons. He learned advanced battlefield tactics from Tobirama, and he learned improved knife skills and close quarters combat from Kwai. Tsukumo instructs Naruto in fencing and short blade combat. Drake instills in Naruto naturalistic reflexes and instincts while teaching him combat versatility with all the weapons, skills, and strategies. Naruto's abilities and skills have been improved to an almost supernatural level. As they head back to their separate heavens, Makoto gives Nar a hug. After completing his training, Naruto was prepared to return to Earth and kick some ass. Michael looked at the now blonde ninja warrior in front of him and said, "Okay, Naruto, your time is up. It's time for you to come back to Earth. Here, take this armor and weapons. It's the armor of the Avenger. The weapons are razor sharp and can only be used by you. The seal pouches conceal anything and anyone. Only you can work them," Drake clarified as he presented Naruto with the armor. After that, a portal opens. The portal's open. "Naruto, time to go," Michael declared. After that, Naruto dons the weapons and armor. He passes through the portal after bowing to Drake and Michael. Flashback ends. After being killed by his teammates, Naruto concluded his explanation of how he changed into the Avenging Angel, an angelic superhuman warrior with extraordinary powers and fighting skills. How some of the greatest fighters, warrior sages, and Fujitsu masters in human history trained him. "Amazing," Tsunami said. Tazuna remarked. "Remarkable." "Cool," Inari said. As everyone stares at Nar, Haku said, "Nar, I need to ask, why were you killed by your teammates?" When Naruto said, "It's because I was the Jinryuri of the Keibi Knockets." Haku, Zabuza, and Tuna gave him a startled look, while Tsunami and Inari gave him a perplexed look. "Oh!" a dejected Haku uttered as she cast a sorrowful glance at her partner as he consoled his adopted daughter. A sympathetic Zabuza remarked, "So you were the Jinryuri, you must have a hard life." "Yes, it has. I have been beaten within an inch of my life, had to sleep in the streets, had been poisoned by bastard restaurant owners, had also been set on fire several times, crucified several times. I'm surprised I haven't been raped or urinated on by the villagers," stated Naruto. As Naruto gazes at the old men, Tsuna asks, "How are you still sane?" The Hokage of the Leaf, who happens to be Naruto, said, "I had many people in the village that care about me deeply." Nar looked calmly at everyone. "What's a Jinryuri?" Tsunami inquired. "A Jinryuri is a person who contains a tailed beast, a creature of living chakra. They are often used as super soldiers in hidden villages," replied Zabuza. "A tailed beast can be identified by the tails they possess, and the strongest of them all was the 9 tails," stated Zabuza. "That is correct," a stoic Naruto remarked. As Naruto gives him a grateful glance, Inari remarked, "They should not be treated as pests. If anything, they should be treated as heroes or champions." As Naruto sensed someone entering the room, he said, "Thanks, Inari. At least you can appreciate the value of one." Naruto had been hit by a number of shurikens before anyone could intervene. After that, Naruto pulled out his long sword and used it to block several shuriken that had been thrown at him. As they turned to face Kakashi, they see Sakura, Sasaki, and Kakashi grinning at him. Kakashi pulled a sword from one of his scrolls and said, "All right, demon. It's time for you to find out where you belong and who your superiors are. You talk too much, Kakashi. What would my father say?" "What would Tsukumo say?" "Oh, and Sasuke, your mother, says she disowned you," Naruto replied. When Naruto brings up his father, Kakashi becomes enraged and his sensei prepares to fight along with Sasuke, who becomes enraged when his mother is brought up. "You son of __" was Sasuke's call as he used his sharing. Kakashi yelled never talk about him as he prepared to fight. Both of them take their positions. When Kakashi notices that NR is adopting his father's Timberwolf stance, he becomes enraged. A sword stance that permits defensive and close angles. As Kakashi and Naruto engage in fierce sword play, Sasaki sneaks up on him and stabs him in the leg. Sasaki is then thrown out of the window after Naruto kicks him in the chest. Then Kakashi approaches Naruto to apply a seal that is supposed to suppress his chakra. Then as Sasaki stands up and slashes Naruto across the face, Kakashi strikes Naruto twice in the face and stabs him in the other leg. As he prepared to stab NAR, Sasaki remarked, "Hey, maybe the avenging angel was just a fluke." But before he could do so, Sasaki was thrown out of the window he had just been kicked through by Naruto, who returned in blinding speed. After that, Naruto strikes Kakashi in the face, shattering his nose and tosses him out of the house, while Sasaki is knocked unconscious. Then, Naruto quickly approaches Sakura and chops her neck, knocking her unconscious. After that, Naruto retrieves Kakashi's sword from his leg and returns it to him. The words, "Defend yourself, if you can," were uttered by Naruto as he leapt toward Kakashi outside the window. Kakashi is shocked by Naruto's increased power because he could have sworn that he had applied a seal that would have suppressed his chakra. His eyes widened as his wounds healed, and the seal he had put on himself burned away. Then, with a ferocity that has never been witnessed by contemporary mortals, Naruto attacks Kakashi. While Kakashi has experience on his side, and Naruto was trained by some of the greatest swordsmen and warriors of their era, the two trade parries and blows. In a flash of lightning, Naruto pierces Kakashi's guard, severing his sword arm by the forearm and sending him flying into a tree. A clawed hand lands on Kakashi's shoulder as he is about to move. As Kakashi, Sasaki, and Sakura are dragged back into the special prison scroll by their punisher, Naruto remarked, "I also forgot to mention that if you attack me, you would also have a visit from that punisher." Prior to Kakashi being sucked into the seal, Naruto retrieves his wallet. They go through hell on earth inside the seal, where Sasaki is brutally beaten by his brother and made to reproduce the Uchiha clan as a genetically altered girl while being restrained in a room full of gruff-looking men. 12 dominatrixes had just sexually dominated Kakashi. In a silent room, Sakura's gang raped and gagged by several groups of ugly boys. NAR handed Tsunami Kakashi's wallet and remarked, "This should be enough to repair that window and anything broken." NAR then turns to leave. Inari asked, "Naruto, where are you going?" As NAR turned to face him, NAR nodded to Zabuza, who was leading the way, and said to go search Gad's mansion. Zabuza and Haku are going to help me. Haku, Zabuza, and Naruto traveled to God's estate. They quickly eliminated the remaining mercs using a variety of techniques. Zabuza used his sword and shuriken to kill some. Haku used her ice needles to kill some, and Naruto used his tonfa and bearcat form to kill some with his bare hands. In order to discover any treasure within, Naruto descends to the basement and looks for any slaves that God may have kept for his own amusement. When he discovers cells full of women who have experienced better times, one of them approaches him and asks, "Are you an angel?" NAR exclaimed, "I am an avenging angel. You are safe now." As they began to cry with happiness that their abuser had been apprehended, NAR questioned, "Are there anybody else in these cells?" "There are male prisoners here as well. Their weight counts elite. A Shagara guardsmen and samurai. Some are Hydok former warrior monks. They had been here for months. stated a woman. Naruto inquired, "Are they in any good shape?" "Yes. Only one is missing his arm, and another one is blinded. The rest only have scars of previous beatings," said a single woman. "All right, all of you run to the village and back to Ini. They only still living," instructed Naruto. The women said, "Thank you," as they bolted from the cage in the mansion in the direction of the village. NAR travels to the other area of the prison. Underground. 2 guards are running toward Naruto in an attempt to stop him. NAR uses his butterfly swords to cut them to pieces, proving they were no match for the blonde. He kicks the door open with enough force to kill the guard behind it. As he broke the bars of their harness and released the imprisoned samurai, Naruto declared, "I'm NAR, Uzumaki of the hidden village of Konoha. Gato has been overthrown. You are free to go. If you want to leave, you may once I release you. But if you want to stay, I have a purpose for you warriors." The commander of the samurai said, "We are listening." As the samurai commander watched him and turned to face his men, Naruto said, "Let's discuss it later. Right now, I need your help to strip this place of any wealth so it can go to the nation of Wave. You heard him, go and strip this place of any wealth so it can go to the people of Wave," the commander replied. With a nod from the samurai, Naruto said, "Also, watch for 2 other ninja. They are with me." Naruto was about to say, "Thanks, Commander," when he heard as he and Naruto made their way upstairs. The commander corrected him. "It's Terran. Every samurai is moving objects in the direction of the compound center." Terran and Naruto head to the center. They see the samurai, Zabuza, and Haku waiting for them. Naruto inquired, "Did you all find anything?" "Yeah, 15 stacks of 100 gold bars, 15 stacks of Rio, 16 bounty, heads of missing Nin, and 150 bags of uncut diamonds." Zabuza was listed. NAR created some shadow clones to assist the samurai in bringing the treasure into the village. "Okay, that's enough to help this nation get back on its feet. Now, let's go take care of the run of a former man." They head toward the middle of the village. The people celebrated their victory over the evil tyrant, but before they could fully rejoice, the castrated __ was put through a trial. Goto received the same death sentence as the Wave hero, who was publicly tortured to death. For those who perished in Wave country while God was in power, the populace held a memorial service. The people celebrated Naruto's bravery in Wave with a party. During the celebration, many of the kids enjoyed playing with NAR. Many of the women, including Haku, were blushing and swooning at Naruto's well-defined body as he showed off his strength, speed, and agility while playing a fierce rugby match and lifting a big boat above his head while only wearing knee-high shorts and a muscle shirt. During the festivities, Tsunami fell in love once more with Ryukuro, one of the samurai Naruto had freed. He was one of the 2 samurais that Naruto healed using a unique healing method that only he knew. The samurai who lost his sight was healed by NAR using Hammond healing, and Reyes' arm was grown back by NAR using Hammond regeneration. Days after the bridge was finished and put into service, in honor of NAR, it was dubbed the Great NAR Bridge. Days after the bridges were completed, newcomers and travelers had moved into the village, making trade and travel more important. Naruto, Haku, and Zabuza had convened with Terran and Tuna to discuss waves, defenses, and fighting forces. Naruto proposed that they enlist a paramilitary group made up of former samurai, ninja, sailors, hunters, and some of the hardest fighters from the Wave who were hidden from God's forces, and some settlers. This is a good idea. According to Terran, Tsuna, Zabuza, and Haku, they also want to know what inspired him. NAR informs them that it originated with Richard the Lionheart, one of his heavenly instructors, who carried out a similar action for his armed forces. Terran inquired about the recruitment and training processes. The paramilitary's combat forces, or its support forces, would recruit them based on their individual scores in a series of war games. According to Naruto, if none of them had a place to sleep, there would be education for the illiterate. The goal of the training is to develop the person's fighting instinct and mentality so that they can become proficient paramilitary fighters. Additionally, Naruto had discussed another crucial issue for the paramilitary forces. He informs them that in order for the forces to compete with ninja, they must also develop more advanced training techniques. They will require dietary supplements to boost their athleticism and unique strategies to defeat ninja. The paramilitary required a dietary supplement, and Terran and Zabuza had the techniques for anti-ninja tactics. Additionally, Naruto proposed the creation of a military command structure which they consented to incorporate into the paramilitary. A messenger bird had been dispatched to Konoha by Naruto, accompanied by a message stating that the Wave's mission had been accomplished, but that there had been issues with his teammates betraying him and attempting to kill him, as well as the payment being forwarded in the message's seal. The message also described how Wave asked Naruto to assist in training a paramilitary group in exchange for Naruto's services. Team 7's betrayal of their comrade infuriated the Hokage, who dispatched Team 8 to assist Naruto with the paramilitary force. The Hideker and Warrior Monk group had met with Naruto in order to help teach the general public how to practice their craft and serve as a covert resistance force against any potential threats. He had proposed that they establish a martial arts school. Over the next few weeks, Haku and Naruto became closer than ever. During one of their intense make-out sessions, Haku thought that Naruto was more than just a boy in his pants. They discussed how both of them struggle in life and how they should try to make the most of it. Haku and Naruto were currently making out passionately. Nar and Haku started undressing each other, appreciating one another's shapes. A knock on the door of his makeshift base of operations in a rebuilt home prevented them from having sex. After getting dressed, Nar and Haku went to answer the door. When Nar opens the door to answer it, he finds a stunning woman wearing a black jacket and a battle dress with long black hair and ruby eyes. Her head was tied with the Konoha 8. A now unveiled Kurani said, "John and Sensei Kuranayuti of Konoha for assistance of one Naruto Uzumaki." A boy with a big ninja dog next to him said, "Where assess the dope so a real ninja can help him." A girl wearing a heavy coat with lavender eyes and gorgeous dark blue hair with a hem cut said, "Yes, where's Naruto-kun?" The boy in the rear just gave a nod. As he moved closer to the light, Naruto said, "Greetings, dog breath, Hinata. Shino, it's good to see you all." Hinata said, "Naro." As she fought the urge to pass out while staring at her crush, Kurani thought, "Yawn named Sama as." She gazed at the boy who seemed to be the end time. As he and Akamaru smelled him, Ka exclaimed, "What the hell happened to you?" Shino received a startling response from his teammates when he said, "Interesting. My bugs aren't going near you, saying they sense tremendous power from you." As he welcomed teammate inside the house, Naruto remarked, "That is a long story that I would explain inside." As teammate examined the young girl, Naruto explained, "Oh, where are my manners? This is Haku Momochi Yuki." Looking at the girl, Hinata is looking at her with jealousy. However, Hinata was unaware that Haku was bisexual in addition to being willing to share Naruto. After 6 hours, Naruto describes in detail how Team 7 betrayed and killed him, displaying his previously mutilated body with numerous stab wounds, a broken neck, and a crushed heart. He informs them that Team 7 is being tormented by their personal punisher in a unique stasis prison scroll that satisfies their cravings. A sensei with raven hair is fascinated by the blonde stasis scroll abilities. He told them about his treatment in the village and his role as the Jinryuri of the Nine Tails. He continues by explaining how he trained under some of the greatest fighters in human history and how he ascended to heaven to become an avenging angel, an angelic superhuman. He describes how he freed Wave Country from God, raided his vaults with Zabuza and Haku's assistance, and set free every slave God had in his dungeon. He goes on to say that in order to develop Wave's paramilitary forces, he needs assistance. With a few war games, Hinata sees his chakra pool, and Kurenai, who is a little dubious about his claim to be an avenging angel, asks if she can use a special memory jutsu to see his memories. NAR accepts this. When she uses the jutsu to see his memories, she is astounded by what she witnesses. She witnesses every second of his life from the time he was in Wave until his death and his ascent to heaven. Hinata notices that his chakra pool is truly remarkable, observing it as serene and dark as blood, yet apparently powerful. The Kunoichis pause their individual scans and gaze at Naruto, amazed that his assertion is accurate. Then Naruto gives Hinata a wink, causing her to flush. With a scroll in her hand, Kurenai said, "Okay, you're telling the truth. What is this?" NAR inquired. Kurana responded, "A message from the Hokage." As Hinata, Shino, and Ka watched the blonde open the scroll, they thought, "So that's why Naruto is often hated in our village." Naruto remarked, "Well, this is interesting." "What is it?" Kurini inquired. The entire room gives Naruto a startled look as he says, "It appears that Gigi has given me operational command." Kurenai said, So, what now?" "I need to create a main fortress for the future paramilitary force and a fortress school of martial arts. I need you and your team to help with the organization of the war games. I have the materials for the dummies, but I need you to help the blacksmith with the orders of standard armor and equipment. Here, takes this clone with you. It's made with a more durable clone jutsu. He will be helping with the blacksmithing," explained Naruto as he made a light clone. Teammate and Naruto proceed to complete their assigned tasks. In order to locate a location for the main fortress and the martial arts school, Naruto creates 10 clones and assigns them to drive 10 sizable wagons of building supplies. On a high ridge in an open field, Naruto finds the ideal location for the fortress. He creates 100,000 light clones for his army. He gives the order for 50,000 light clones to begin building the fortress's outer walls so that enemy infiltrators cannot breach or pierce them. NAR then assumes control of the remaining 50,000 light clones to work on the internal structures, starting 20 each on the construction of the training ground, barracks, command center, prison, library, and hidden passages, as well as plumbing and electricity. After that, Naruto had the remaining 2,500 clones to start building the bridge in Moot. Then, in order to locate a different location for the construction of the martial arts school for the Hedakuri and warrior monks, Naruto made 50,000 clones. The clones were joined in their search by the Hedakuri and fighting monks. They are assisting blacksmith in the construction of armor and weapons with teammate. The armor chest guard was removed by the Naruto clone. The female Jonin and the Hyuga Aries blushed, and the males in the room, except for the stoic Shino, gave her a jealous look. The Aries' eyes are filled with lust and wonder. It was going to be a field day for each group. In the meantime, Tundra Country. Walking through the wilderness of Tundra Country in battle dress is a stunning woman with red hair, blood-red eyes, and a well-bowed athletic body. As she headed toward civilization, the now human Kaylee thought, I need to find a place to sleep and a man that can fool Around in the sheets, she witnesses 50 men attacking a lone man who seems to be a samurai and a highly skilled one at that. He was wearing the Hidokari warrior's traditional armor. He was armed with 2 swords. His black hair was long and flowing. Then, to let the stranger know he is not fighting alone, she leaps into the fight and lands back to back with him. Using their different fighting techniques, the two start massacring the bandits. "What is your name, lovely?" the samurai inquired. Kaebi said, "I'm Kurama." Kurama said, "What's yours, handsome?" The now-renamed Sinu shocked Kurama by saying, "My name is Tozen Senju, Berserk Warrior Sage of the Wolverines." "Haim Senju-ha, I thought all of the Sinu died out," Kurama replied. Tozen sliced a man in half from head to toe and said, "No, some of us just scattered to the great winds and became nomads. I'm the last of my immediate family." After breaking a man's neck and using his body as a weapon, Kaebi said, "I'm sorry to hear that." The bandits are being torn apart by both fighters. After the leader killed Tozen and threatened to rape Kurama, they ultimately murder him viciously. As he wiped the blood from his swords, Tozen remarked, "Well, that was a workout. Nice moves, beautiful." Kurama looked at the ferocious sage and remarked, "You're not bad either." Then, with their adrenaline still high, the two gaze into each other's eyes. They approach to kiss each other. Near the corpses, the two continue to make out. Kurama licked her lips and asked, "So, is that title Berserk true in other ways?" According to Tozen, as true as getting blood from stone. As he and Kurama shared another kiss, the two start undressing each other and engage in rough sex close to the corpses. Kurama and the ferocious Senju are shown having a great time. With every thrust, she feels his enormous manhood pumping into her, providing her with long-lasting, restless pleasure. She will have a memorable evening with the warrior sage. Kurama and Tozen cuddled under a quilt that Tozen had with him. After spending minutes in love, Tozen and Kurama had enjoyed each other a lot, since she might as well travel with him, rather than by herself. She could only hope to see more of the world. Returning to Naruto after completing the paramilitary's required fortress structure, Naruto dispatched an electrician to connect the electronics to the fortress using Naruto's clones. In the mountainous areas, the Naruto clones also complete the school of martial arts. The warrior monks and Hidokari are grateful for the structure and will do everything in their power to train Wave's future martial arts defenders, even though only the samurai of Wave are aware of its location. Teammate assisted in completing the paramilitary's orders for weapons and armor. Haku and Hinata discuss Naruto with one another. Haku informs her that she is bisexual and that she is open to sharing. At this revelation, Hinata was having a wild party in her head. Taran inquired as to the appropriate name for the paramilitary force. "It ought to be called Storm," Naruto proposed. Taran, Haku, Zabuza, Teammate, and Naruto visit the War Games field. To attract everyone's attention, Naruto takes the stage. Naruto opened his speech by saying, "Citizens of Wave, welcome to the recruitment for Storm. Now, some of you are wondering why we need a paramilitary, you might add. Well, let's look at God. God was able to take over this country, killing your men and children, raping your women, enslaving you. Now that he was taken care of, what's stopping the next tyrant of doing the same thing for future generations? If you join Storm, know you would be able to stand up to those tyrannical bastards. If you don't want to do it for Wave, then do it for yourself. As if Wave has another tyrant, then you would be suffering a darkness like no other if you don't join. But if you want to defend your family and friends, then go near the mountain range. A group of warriors will show you the art of war," said Naruto as people look on the hero in front of them. Tenacity, Those who chose not to participate went to see the mountain's elderly leader. The blonde's charisma and speech startled teammate. People are positively motivated by witnessing him inspire so many others in the manner that he did. People began approaching to sign. These individuals, some of whom were looking for a life, came from a variety of backgrounds. Let's begin. The war games will test you in areas of hunting, team combat, hand-to-hand combat, archery, swordsmanship, and weapons combat for those who are skilled in other weapons. Once that is done, it will show us what we have to work with, said Terran. When the hunting portion of the war game started, many of the hunters received high scores. The hunter, sailor, and fighter teams scored highly in the team combat sections, as did the former samurai and ninja. In the team combat section, the settlers and native teams were performing exceptionally well and displaying a fighting spirit unlike any other. The scores from the groups were amazing in all the other events, with the former ninja and samurai groups receiving the highest scores. The hunter, sailor, and fighter groups had the second highest scores. The demographic groups of native people and settlers together come in third. Alright, from this moment on, Storm has been formed, but it's not fully operational. You will be training with each other, learning from each as you would be put through hellish training. From here on out, training that will give you all the means to defend Wave from its enemies and make new connections with the outside world, Terran said as he and the samurai and ninja drew their swords and gave the blonde a sword salute. Terran said, "Let us thank Nar Uzumaki Namikaze for the creation of this fortress and his service to Wave." When teammate learns that Naruto is Akage's son, they are shocked. Hinata looked surprised at her lover and said, "You're a son of Akage." "Yes, my mother told me he is the Enheim." I myself couldn't believe it, but one of my teachers did show me a picture of him and showed me a mirror. It really surprised me, stated Narret. Hinata said, "Wow, you look like you're from a fairy tale," as she rushed to kiss him. This revelation surprises teammate, especially Ka and Shino. Kurani had already deduced the identities of his mother and father. Haku approaches Naruto and gives him a kiss on the lips. After saying that's for being the hero of Konoha and Wave, Haku is kissed by Hinata, who reciprocates by snatching her ass and squeezing it. She then returns to a startled teammate. Hinata turned to face her lovers and said, "What Haku is by, well share him." Taran handed Naruto a katana with a prong guard and said, "Naro, I had a blacksmith make this sword for you. This katana is the Kiba no Tengu, a blade made from the hardest steels and titanium in Wave. It is very much indestructible. Take it and use it in battle." Taran bows to the young blonde. Nar gives the bow back. As Narret fastened the sword to his belt, he said, "Thank you. I will use it valiantly in battle." Nar and teammate approach the Wave's edge. When Narret departs the nation, they host a parade for him. To bid farewell to the young blonde, the Tsuna family met him. Narret looked at a tearful Inari and said, "Iari, take care of your mother and listen to your new father. He will teach what it means to be truly strong." Inari gives a nod of approval. Teammate departs from Wave Country with Haku, Zabuza, and Narret. They encounter a scene that completely shocks them. On their way to Konoha, they watch as men wearing flank jackets beat two girls, one with red hair and smooth sun-bleached skin, and the other with mint green hair and tan skin. They are identified as Chunin of Hidden Grass and Waterfall by Kurnai and Zabuza. Narret acts before Kurnai has a chance to speak. One of the ninjas is knocked out by Naruto's climbing elbow. A defensive Nin questioned, "Who the heck are you?" And they are referred to the Nin as an avenging angel. As he charged, the Nin and Nar engage in combat. Zabuza prevents Kurini, who was terrified of the young angelic ninja from jumping in. Kurenai became enraged and yelled, "What are you doing? He needs our help." As she observed the blonde participating in hand-to-hand combat, Zabuza pointed to the battle and said, "You don't need to worry yourself, Kurani. He has the fight handled." With his ruthlessly effective hand-to-hand fighting abilities, Naruto is tearing through the grass and waterfall mean, shattering bones, inflicting internal wounds, and truly tearing into the opposition. NAR then uses an uppercut to eliminate the final opponent. The two girls gaze in wonder at their savior. Naruto said, "Are you two all right?" The girl with the mint green hair said, "Yes, thank you." Naruto said, "That's good to hear. Can I get your names?" The now named Fu responded, "My name is Fu." The redhead girl replied, "My name is Karen Uzumaki." Naruto said, "It's nice to meet the both of you. I'm a Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." As the two were taken back by the revelation, Lyra Uzumaki has red hair, not sun-kissed blonde hair, Karen replied, "I am actually half Uzumaki." Naruto clarified. Karen sensed the chakra he was radiating using her senses. She feels that he possesses Uzumaki chakra, but it's a completely different kind than she's ever experienced. "You're telling the truth, but what happened to you?" replied Karen. Karen and Fu gave Naruto a perplexed look when he replied, "I died and came back to life." Fu said, "What do you mean?" Naruto said, "It's a long story." Fu inquired, "Where was your group headed?" Kurani said to Konoha as the group approached them, "Well, it looks like we're going with you because going back without these guys is going to be hell for us," Karen replied. Naruto said, "Please explain your plight as we travel." In the elemental nations elsewhere, after obtaining the heads of several well-known IWA, Kumo and Kirin Nins, two distinctively attired mercenaries are leaving a bounty office. They have a kanji for Great Destroyer on the back of their GI, which gives them the appearance of warrior monks. A woman with blood-red hair asked, "So, brother, how's our opium operations in Konoha doing?" As they made their way to the docks to locate their ship, the man remarked, "It's going well. We will soon have enough slave warriors for the Dark Lord's return. Who knows? Maybe we might find a virgin sacrifice from the operation to him be reborn." Good. Now, on to Demon Country. Have a country to control from the shadow. The group visits Fire Country. Karen and Fu describe the circumstances in their hometowns. Because Karen has the ability to replenish chakra by either biting or funneling it into them, or because Fu is a Jinryuri, they are treated as slaves. Naruto shares his story of abuse with them, revealing that he was a Jinryuri who was subjected to daily vicious attacks. If he is no longer a Jinryuri, Fu and Karen wonder how he is still alive. When a Jinturki has their Beiju removed, they themselves know that the removal will result in their death. NAR went on to describe how his former teammate's betrayal led to his death. In front of them, Fu inquires as to how he is still alive. He clarifies that they had given him an award for the purity of his heart and the strength of his will during his torments when his soul entered paradise by transforming him into the avenging angel, an angelic superhuman fire. At first, Fu and Karen didn't believe he was an avenging angel. That is until Fu was informed by Calm, the seven-tailed beetle, that what Naruto was telling them was accurate. Calm tells Fu that she can sense a variety of energies, some of which even her siblings are afraid of. One of these, which Naruto is radiating, is heavenly or divine in origin. Calm's comment that she questions the abilities of the angelic warrior surprises Fu. Karen requests that he show off his strength. By channeling Hammond from him into Karen, Naruto is able to significantly heal some of her scars that have not been fully healed. Karen examines her body to make sure the wounds from previous bites have healed. She looked at him in amazement at what he had done and was shocked by this. Additionally, he healed Fu's scars from previous beatings, which even Calm had previously failed to heal. Fu and Karen ask a number of questions concerning heaven, Kami, and life because they are amazed by his strength and believe what they are saying. As he was being trained by some of the greatest warriors, sages, and seal masters in history, Naruto simply informs them that he did not meet Kami, that heaven is a wonder to behold, and that he was unable to ask any questions about life. They keep discussing their relationships to the abuse they experienced as children. Karen and Fu began to grow fond of the blonde as the days passed, going so far as to stand close to him in the base camp alongside Haku and Hinata. When Haku and Hinata realized this, they approached them about sharing him. Hinata clarified that Naruto would now be covered by the CRA, which would allow him to have more than one wife. Kurinai gives Naruto the kind of look a mother would give her daughter's boyfriend, threatening to punish him if he breaks her heart. And Naruto promises not to buy, nodding his head. At last they arrive at the edge of Konoha where Kotetsu Amo, the third Hokage, and his Ambu await him in his entourage. A curious Hokage asked Kurani, "Where is Naruto, and who are these 5 with your group?" As he glanced at the 5 and saw what appeared to be a ghostly face in his eyes. Aware of the stranger, the elderly Hokage inquired, "Who are you and why do you look like the Yendime?" Kurinai said, "Hokage-sama, the young blonde man in the strange armor next to Zabuza. Momochi and his adoptive daughter, as Naruto Uzumaki, sir, along with Karen Uzumaki, and Fu from Grass Village and Waterfall, respectively." Her leader gave her a startled look as Naruto moved forward. The Hokage and his group of Ambu, along with the 2 gate guards, surprised Naruto, who said, "Actually, it's Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." Looking at the blonde warrior, Hizen said, "There's a story to this, I'm sure, but please answer me this way or the rest of your traitorous teammates." Then, using the unique stasis scroll, Naruto frees his teammates who had been bitten by snakes. Before Nar snaps his fingers, his teammates dribble messes. "When I get my hands on you, Nar, you're a dead demon," a furious Kakashi uttered. To a furious Sasaki, "Yeah, dope. Do you know what you put us through?" he replied. "Yeah, do you?" Then girl, who was still without hope, said, as the cunning Team 7 turns to face Hiruzen, who was radiating the power of a war god. Naruto said stoically, "I think what happened in the stasis scroll was a mercy, as you're going to answer to the Hokage, right, Jijiji?" "Hokage-sama, I can explain," Kakashi started to say, but the third Hokage grabbed his throat and lifted him off the ground before he could finish. As Hiruzen tore out, Kakashi sharing an eye, he said, "I thought I made myself clear about your judgment towards the boy, but no, you didn't listen." As Kakashi screams in agony, a kick to the face knocks out some of his teeth, silencing him. "Ambu! Get Kakashi on his feet and treated of his injuries. I'm going to make an example out of treacherous teammates. Get these 2 in an Ambu prison along with him. No, meet me back in my office. You would also want to listen," instructed Hien, as she nodded her head. In the direction of the blonde, the Ambuo said, "I, Hokage-sama, here and said, come everyone, we'll talk in my office." Time skip Hoko's office. 4 hours later, Naruto recounted everything that had happened to him in waves, including his death, his training under some of the greatest fighters in history, his resurrection, and the establishment of the paramilitary. His initially doesn't believe Naruto's claim to be an avenging angel, so he summoned Inoichi, Hayashi, and Shibi to perform a memory projection jutsu on him. This allowed him to see his memories of the events in waves, excluding some private moments and believing them to be true. Hayashi notices that his chakra pool is pure like a river of water and sees other energies that he has never seen before. Shibi then informs them that none of his chakra, these odd energies, can be siphoned off by his bugs, claiming that they are so powerful that they would instantly kill them. Everyone who hadn't seen the form was shocked when NAR revealed his original body. He then asks the three girls to identify themselves, and they all do so. Naruto's encounters with each of them for similar reasons. All three girls blush as they confess that they are attracted to the blonde angelic warrior. His chuckles as he muses about how the blonde's rise to prominence has made him a ladies' man. He wasn't surprised because prior to entering the office, Naruto was receiving admiring and lustful looks from some girls, and some of them passed out. Karen approaches the girls and gives them both cheek kisses. As Naruto is taken aback by Fu's revelation, Naruto declares that he would be delighted to have them as lovers. The boy is jumped by the two girls, who then repeatedly kiss the blonde's face to win his acceptance. Hai is slightly proud of his daughter for coming out of her shell so bravely, and Kurani, Zabuza, no, and Hizen share this sentiment as Hinata and Haku jump. Naruto pulls out his long sword as the girls release him, and before anyone can react, he starts slicing through the air with amazing blade work that even No and Zabuza have to concede is spot on. After that, Naruto abruptly halts, performs a cartwheel, thrusts his arm forward, and then extends a concealed blade that pierces the wall before drawing his arm back. A worried Hien asked Naruto what was all that about, as he noticed that the wall where Naruto had just stabbed was bleeding. Suddenly, three bodies fell to the ground above, one of which revealed Anu, but none of her. A curious third Hokage inquired, NAR, what other abilities do you have as an avenging angel? One particular ability is a sensory-based one that allows me to sense the intentions of individuals along with sensing danger in the environment. These individuals didn't have such good intentions from what I sensed, said Naruto as Nico and Zabuza examined his sword. Interesting sword. You have Naruto. What's it called? No responded. Yes, I would also like to know you used it to fight off Kakashi when he tried to kill you a second time and went against those mercenaries, replied Zabuza. The two sword experts nodded in agreement as Naruto explained. My teacher Richard the Liony Heart called it a long sword. It's similar to our culture Tsurugi's sword for the warriors of his culture, but is more for strength-based two-handed handling. This design in particular is called the Sword of Eagles. I have other swords aside from this one. A curious Shibi question. What was that blade you used on that one near the wall? It came out of your bracer. Oh, this one. It's called a hidden blade, a weapon used by the spies and infiltrators of one of Richard's enemies turned saviors, the assassins. It has a basic mechanical system of switches that allows me to pop it out and retract it. It can be used for stealth attacks and hand-to-hand fighting, Naruto said, receiving a nod of interest from Shibi and his son Shino as he displayed it. Bushan enters the room before anyone has a chance to question Naruto about his arsenal. The hawk masked and declared, Hokage-sama, the council has called a meeting about Team 7's imprisonment. Thank you, Hawk. Zabuza, you are on a 2 months probation and your sword would be confiscated by No here. You along with your daughter Karen and Fu can live with Naruto at his mansion. Fu, Karen, Haku, welcome to Konoha. All three of you will be indoctrinated in Aranobi forces in the respective roles of your choosing, said the third Hokage, while receiving a perplexed look on his face. Hai gave NAR the map and keys to the Namikaze and Uzumaki compound before he could finish. But I don't have a. Hiron praised NAR saying, NAR, my boy, you are going to be going places with this new strength. As the three girls blushed at the thought of being his fiancé copyright S, Hizen said, now go. and take your fiancé copyright S and your future father-in-law to the compound and meet me in the council chambers. Naruto performed the light clone jutsu and said, Actually, Gigi, I can take them there along with being in the council room. As he examined the clone, an inquisitive third Hokage asked, Naruto, what type of clone is that? As the elderly warrior nodded, Naruto clarified, It's the light clone jutsu, the opposite of shadow clone jutsu. It has all of the merits of shadow clone jutsu, and none of the drawbacks of shadow clone jutsu. Okay, we're off. See you at home, darlings, Naruto said, kissing each of them before making his way to the council chambers with Hokage and other clan leaders. He handed Naruto a cloak for disguise, saying, Here, Naruto, wear this cloak. It will help you walk around without drawing too much attention to yourself. Before he left, a beaming Hayashi said, Oh, Hinata, I have a surprise for you at home that will make you jump for joy. Hinata wondered what might bring a smile to my father's face. Chambers of the council. The Hokage and their fellow clan leaders are awaited by the clan heads of the Inuzuka, Akamichi, and Nara. Together with them are the avaricious civilian council members and the cunning elders. A counselor from the civilian side remarked, Where is the Hokage? He should be here when he is called. Chosa Akamichi, the head of the Akamichi clan, said, Hold your tongue, civilian. You're treading on dangerous ground as is. The Akamichi are tenacious defenders of the leaf with a strong, husky build. Some Inuzuka, the matriarch of the Inuzuka clan, stated, PFT, Civilians no sort of respect or discipline nor respect for power or authority. Mabuki Haruno, an ignorant civilian councilman, said, What did you say, you __? Watch your tongue, Haruno. The last time you didn't, you had to have a skin transplant when Kusha cut the fat out of your ass. Do you want more cut out? Is Kurumaru Sunsun's Ninjan partner's way of snarling at the women for their disrespect. Shikaku Nar, the leader of the sluggish but clever Nar clan, said, You civilians are involved in this matter. This meeting is in session. Please be seated, is said by a familiar voice before Mabuki can yell. Everyone turns to see the Hokage with a cloaked figure accompanied by Shibi Arame of the Aburame clan, and Noichi Yamanaka of the Yamanaka clan, and Hayashi Hyuga of the Hyuga clan. The disrespectful civilian counselor was about to say, Hokage-sama, why are you late, you old fart? And who is this foreigner behind you? He has no place here. When the figure leapt behind him and broke his neck, shocking some of the civilians in the room into submission, with some and Shikaku staring at the figure in awe and Kurumaru approaching to sniff the stranger out of curiosity. Chos asked, Hokage-sama, who is this fellow with you? Everyone, the figure. Here is someone related to both the Namikaze line and the Uzumaki line. Someone who has stayed here and has been beaten and attacked on every one of his birthdays, I said with a questioning voice. Shikaku and Chosa quickly figure out who the stranger is. The third Hokage said, Ladies and gentlemen, might I reintroduce the heir to the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans. Narrate Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto removed his hood to reveal a chiseled face devoid of whisker marks and baby fat. The civilian council quickly erupts in rage, yelling profanities about how the so-called demon is not their Yondane's son. Nar yelled, Shut the hell up, you no good viper bitches, with a killing intent he had never felt before. A very irate Naruto yelled, You civilians know nothing of sacrifice, nothing of ninja warfare. All you do is sit in these chairs at this table believing you have power. Well, let me tell you something you don't. All you do is __ about not getting your way and getting more money. Now shut the __ up when grown-ups are talking. The sensible civilian counselors obeyed. The civilian counselor never had a chance to say, Who the hell do you think you are, you bastards? So before being snatched up by the young blonde with one arm and flung against the wall with enough force to kill him. As he looks at the remaining civilian councils who nod their heads in fear, Naruto asks, "Anyone else want to say anything?" Naruto sat down in the middle of the chambers and said, "Good, Gigi, you can take over." As Hizen said, "Thank you, NAR. The reason why Team 7 has been detained is because they have been charged with murder of a fellow Konoha ninja." Everyone in the room gave him a startled look. A civilian counselor who nearly lost his life said, "How could that be? Hawkeye the Dam? I mean, Uzuaki's sand is right there." As NAR pulled out the scroll containing his original body and released it, Hizen said, "NAR, could you please show them your original body?" Naruto's body was covered in stab wounds, including a broken neck and a destroyed heart, which were caused by Kakashi's original jutsu, the Raikiri. This revelation left the clan leaders even more perplexed. "How are you still alive? And what's with the changes? You look like an all-around athlete and fighter rolled onto one," inquired. A curious Chas responded, "Yes, I would also like to know of this as well." Mabuki Haruno yelled, "The demon he has possessed him. Quick, kill it!" But Naruto punched her in the throat, rendering her unconscious. Soon thanked Naruto in silence as Kurumuru licked the blonde's cheek and NAR patted him on the head to say, "You're welcome." What did I say about talk when grown-ups are? Now where to start? "Yes, here it is," replied NAR. After 60 minutes time skip, Naruto described what happened to him in Wave, how he was transformed into an avenging angel, a warrior with superhuman fighting skills, and how some of the greatest fighters in human and shinobi history trained him. Wave of flashback. Gato had sent mercenaries to kidnap Tsunami, but Naruto had just saved her and Inari. Fortunately, she and her son were saved by the most erratic ninja from Konoha. To the young blonde who had told him about his terrible upbringing, Inari apologizes. Now thankful to have a parent and to be alive, Inari bows respectfully to the blonde. After catching up to Team 7, Naruto informs them that Zabuza intends to attack the bridge in order to attract Tsuna. Team 7 believes that now is the ideal moment to carry out their plan. "Tsuna, tell your workers to go home, but not to run. Just walk away calmly, as it would alert Zabuza of being found out." Kakashi gave the order believing that this was the ideal moment to permanently resolve two issues that had been plaguing them. Tsuna followed instructions and told everyone to go home. He personally returned to check on Inari and Tsunami. Tsuna and the employees are not present at all. NAR is about to inquire about their plans regarding Zabuza and the imposter hunter Nin, and he turns around until Sakura uses a kana to stab him in the ribs. The blonde is stabbed by Sasaki and Kakashi as they leap in. Sasaki stabbed Naruto in the stomach and said, "Dope, you have been in my way long enough that you've been pissing me off." Still alive, Naruto glances at Kakashi. Naruto asked, looking at the white-haired John and bewildered. "Kakashi-sensei, why? You were a mistake that your __ of a mother shouldn't have brought into the world," Kakashi remarked while using his hand gestures to create the Chidori, his only unique technique, and passing it through his chest to remove his heart. With his diminishing strength, Naruto declares, "You three will get what's coming to you. And you, Sasuke, I will see you in hell." Just before he passes away, the dying blonde is then picked up by Sasaki, who throws the dying form off the bridge and remarks, "Hell is for chumps, loser, so enjoy it." Zabuza and the hunter Nin gave unaware Team 7 an audience. She removed her mask to reveal herself as Akumo Machiyuki, who was crying bitterly and furiously as she gazed at the Ukiah who had thrown away not just her precious person, but also the only person who felt like a kindred spirit. She prays for Naruto to enter heaven peacefully before diving into combat. She dons her mask driven by the desire to exact revenge on her loved one. She charges with a vengeance at the Uchiha. The Uchiha was caught off guard as he was attacked with a hellish rage. Kakashi and Zabuza started to go toe-to-toe. The end of the flashback. The council had inquired about the Kyuubi's whereabouts. Naruto had revealed that the Kyuubi was a woman, which shocks everyone, and that his death also killed the Kyuubi. Naruto, what happened to the Kyuubi now that you're alive? Inquired Hizen. Concerned about his possible weapon, Danzo asked, Is she sealed inside you still? No, she isn't. She is no longer a Buu, NAR. Remarked as the council gave them all a startled look. Naruto Flash stepped back in the middle, breaking the man's back. Before he could finish his sentence, it could be a trick, so the demon could. Some of the female Ambu and won some. Inazuka blushed and whistled at NAR when he said, Here, I'll prove it. Removing his shirt and chest guard to reveal his toned torso. After that, Naruto directed his chakra toward his torso, revealing nothing, as he attempts to use his hidden Shang guns to try to influence the angelic warrior in front of him into killing himself. Danzo thinks, Damn it, my one chance to have a perfect weapon ruined. Hopefully I could use this avenging angel to my advantage to make Konoha strong. Sensing this, Naruto simply dismisses the attempt and decides to deal with the old Warhawk at a later time. A stoic Naruto asked, glancing at the council members, What is going to happen to my snake-bitten teammates? A civilian was about to respond when Naruto glared at him, telling him to stop talking. As he allowed Naruto to return home to his loved ones, Hizen said, I and the clan heads will decide that Sue can head home, Naruto. Don't worry, Naruto, as we will punish them in a way that will be fitting. With the civilian council staring at him in dismay, Hizen declared, The civilian side is no longer allowed to call for any meeting, and I'm hereby restricting their powers. Ambu, please escort the civilians out of the chambers, please. I gave the order as Ambu went to escort the civilian counselors out of the chambers. Hokage-sama, you can't just was the last thing the man could say because he was terrified as the elderly warrior revealed his murderous intent in the country of the tundra. Over the past few months, Tozen and Kurama had been enjoying each other's company while traveling together. Up until her container's demise, Kurama had revealed her origins in her original form. Having her around didn't bother Tozen at all. It wouldn't be all that bad to have a walking library, would it? As Kurama wondered where they were going, she said, So love, where are we going? Kurama giggled as Tozen kissed her hands and said, I'm going to see if I can give you a weapon. Can't TT have you damaging your lovely strong hands now? Can we love my grandfather's Highland home? Kurama looked at her partner and said, True, darling, true. So what weapon do you have in mind? Kurama blushed at Tozen's compliment. Well, it's a weapon that captures both your strength and beauty. They see a huge Highland tower that seems to have an elderly man with a build comparable to her lover's waiting for them. As they ascend into the Highland areas, Tozen gave his grandfather a respectful hug and asked, Grandfather Swa, how is life treating you? So looked at his grandson to check for damage and said, Otison, my boy, how are you? I thought you were dead from fighting those Oni warriors. Then he saw the woman with the red hair. The old man looked at the red-haired woman who blushed at the remark and asked, Who is this beautiful woman with you? Tosin said, This beautiful woman is my lover Kurama Uzumaki, formerly the Kyuubi no Kitsum. While Swa gave the woman a startled look at the final line. As they entered the Highlands fortress, the elderly man said, Please tell me your story, Kurama. At night, Konoha, a large group of men are having what appears to be a celebration of sorts inside a remote mansion not far from the red light district, and they are having a great time. to ensure that nothing goes off. Without a hitch, there are oddly dressed guards patrolling the area with tall war sabers in black and yellow. But a sentry is ambushed by a shadowy figure who breaks his neck to kill him. He then proceeds to eliminate the remaining guards. Dancing, drinking, and gambling, the men are enjoying themselves with the girls. Everyone is content to have a good time, like they're enjoying something or high on some kind of drug. A now discovered intruder is killing the guards outside. They try to fight them by drawing their sabers, but it is ineffective because the man continues to mow them down as if it were insignificant. Beneath the partying, things appear bleak. One of the men reveals himself as a demon as he starts to severely hurt one of the party girls. He said, "So girls, how's the party for you? We're enjoying you dancing and drinking along with us, but we should probably eat. What say you boys?" The men start viciously mauling the girls one by one, revealing themselves as demons. However, as the lights go out and one of the robed guards falls from a skylight, attracting the demons' attention, all hell breaks loose more than before. The guard declared that Tamashi is coming as he succumbed to his wounds. A shadowy figure is peering into the space. The figure is illuminated by the moon's night, indicating that it is of Konoha's Ambu, or more specifically a unique branch of the Ambu that is distinct from the norm, but not of root. With a ninjutsu in his hands and a pure white hunter nin mask on, he is dressed in a modified black jacket underneath a trench coat that has kai shuriken and weapons. One of the demons declared, "Tamasi, he's found us." Both sides start fighting hand to hand, slowly but steadily. Although the demons may be fierce fighters, Tamashi fights like a professional, and they only use strength rather than skill. The final demon in the group captures an injured girl and holds her at claw point while the others are being killed. "Stay back or I'll kill the bitch. I swear I'll rip her, __, throat out," a demon said, biting the woman with his claws and drawing blood. Sheathing his sword, Tamashi pulls out a dagger with a distinctive design and aims it at him. "You could do nothing at the range you're at with the dagger." The demon scolds him, but Tamashi activates a switch in the dagger, sending the blade straight into the demon and instantly killing him. Tamashi goes to see how the girls are doing. They all had cuts and teeth marks on their bodies. Only one person is dead and 7 are hurt. Tamashi connects with his commander via his communicator. "Command, this is Yokai. We have a situation over at the Ryobi mansion. I count at least 1 dead and 7 injured. Send medics. We also have a cult here as well, along with Rikshasa," Tamashi said through his communications channel. "Yokai, this is command. We need to identification on the cult," said the order. When he goes to examine one of the dead guards he killed, he discovers a tattoo depicting a dark figure in gold armor with red eyes holding a sword in one hand and a head in the other. Looking at the symbol, Tamashi thought, Kurayami or Iansu. Returning to narrate, 3 of Naruto's 4 lovers are cuddling with him while he lies in bed, and they are all sleeping soundly. Haku, Karen, and Fu had all agreed to let Hinata and other women have sex with the young Adonis, because Haku was the last female in their clan, and Fu was an orphan and alone. The 3 of them also clicked well with one another. The previous evening, the 4 of them had a lengthy make-out session instead of having sex with the young blonde. However, Fu and Karen both thought he was a stallion in his pants and that his muscles were extremely strong. They wanted to get to know him better, so they didn't go any further. They had made the decision to sleep well. NAR is aware that his testimony in his team's tribunal will be required. NAR found the master bedroom in the mansion and decided to sleep in the room. But when Zabuza notices that the boy is lonely at night, he instructs the girls to share the mansion's master bedroom with him, so that he will have company. The girls couldn't wait to lull their fiancé copyright to sleep. They entered the room with him and provided him with excellent comfort by lying on either side of him, stroking his toned torso, putting their hands close to his manhood and down his torso. They are currently cuddling with him. Haku, Karen, and Fu are lying on his chest. Then Naruto awakens, waking his three lovers as well. "Good morning, Narukin," Haku said, kissing him. Nar gives him a passionate kiss in return, and he does the same. Nar separates from Haku and gives Karen an equally passionate kiss. She made sure Nar loved her deep kiss, which she also gave to Fu, taking hold of his head and battling him with his tongue. The doorbell rang before anything could happen. After putting on a kimono that fit him, Naruto went to find out who it was. A woman with long purple hair and a man wearing a green-black jacket are there. When he opens the door, he wore black pants and had short brown hair that was covered by a bandana. He looks ill and undernourished. He is Konoha's hate. Gekko's sword master. "Hello, Nar. I see you've changed." Cough. "I see Yuga. Wasn't." Cough. "Joking around about you being an avenging angel," Hyde said, accompanied by the enigmatic Tamashii. Naruto looked at the two sword fighters and enigmatic warrior in front of him and said, "Hyde, it's been a while, hasn't it? What brings you to my humble home?" As he coughed in between breaths. Hyde said Zabuza had invited me so I could cough test your skills as a swordsman. As Zabuza said, Yukov used efficient sword play in your recent mission. Nar approaches him and uses his hammer to heal him, significantly mending his respiratory system. Hayatiti begins to breathe more healthily. As Hate feels his lungs for the first time with stronger lungs, he asks in surprise and amazement, "What was that you just did to me?" As Hate is taken aback by the young blonde who has transformed into an angel, Naruto explains, "I used my ki to heal your respiratory system." So Yuga was telling the truth. He is an avenging angel. "Are you able to bring back the dead now, or what exactly?" asked Hate. As he motioned for them to enter his house, Naruto explained, "No, I can only heal a person. I'm not permitted to bring someone back to life. I can only heal people with severe injuries. If someone was killed, it's beyond my power to do so." Looking directly at Tamashii, Naruto asked, "So, what's the visit about from you, stranger?" "Well, the Hawkeye wants a new member to be a part of a special unit of Ambu that needs help dealing with things that goes bump in the night. I came to see if the rumors are true, and by what my sensor abilities can tell, it's true," replied Tamashii as he gazed at the young blonde, asking Nar, "I can get your code name." As Narek glances at the man directly behind him in surprise, Tamashii responded, "Call me Tamashii Spirit, and, much like you, I have a brush with death." Naruto said, "I think we might get along if I pass your test." As the man laughed, frightening Yuga and Hate, the four enter the mansion's training area and prepare for a challenging test that will put him to the test as a fighter. Returning to Tundra Country, Kurama had described the events of the past few days. She was transformed into a ninja Amazon from the once powerful Kali no Kitsunto, engaging in combat with Tozen in the face of numerous adversaries on a small battlefield. Truth in her tales is what Swa senses. The man is a strong owl sage, which those who are unaware of this fact should be aware of. The Owl clan is renowned for its ability to see into people's souls and see through lies and deceptions. Everything Kurama had told him was accurate. The elderly man said, "I believe your story. So what now?" Kurama looked at Tozen with bedroom eyes and replied, "I want to enjoy my freedom as much as I can. Maybe start a family. All right, kids. You could take a weapon from the arsenal, but Kurama chooses your weapon carefully as these Weapons will be with you till you die, the speaker stated in a tone that did not allow for retorts. Kurama merely gives a courteous nod before entering the arsenal. She slowly scans the room, examining a wide range of weapons, ranging from clubs and flail weapons to swords, axes, and spears until she spots an eye-catching weapon with a distinctive design. She approaches it and grabs it. She would undoubtedly benefit from this weapon in close quarters combat. As she showed him, and Soi Kurama asked inquisitively, "Tozen-kun, what are these?" As the Kurama gazes at the weapons she is holding and swings them around to obtain a field of them, Tozen responded, "Oh, those are the wind and fire wheels. They are made to be used in Taiwan and Bagwang, that is also used by Neha, the Taoist protection deity." Kurama looked at them and said, "These seem easy to handle. I'll take them." So handed her a big book and said, "Well, if that's the case, then here." Kurama asked, perplexed, "What's this?" To Kurama's surprise, Soi stated, "This book pertains to Taiwan and Bagwang Kung Fu along with the weapon forms for the styles." Kurama was still taken aback by the Senja clan's deep understanding of Taiwan and Bagua. Who didn't call the Senja clan for having 1,000 skills for nothing, he thought. Tosin gestured to the training grounds and said, "You can use our training course to get a grasp on the fundamentals of both styles." Kurama approaches the relevant training fields. Kurama and the Senja clansmen will be together for several months. Returning to Konoha, Haku is having a great time reading through the medical records of Senu, one of the most well-known kunoichi in the elemental nations, observing theories regarding chakra regeneration and healing. It feels like a candy store to Haku. The medical records are being examined by others besides her. She is accompanied by Karen, who is also a huge fan of Sunyane. Karen looked at Haku and said, "So Haku-chan, what was your life before meeting Nukin?" To put it simply, it's exciting, but it's also dangerous and requires constant attention to detail for our work. I never know when Hunter Neen from Kiri would jump out and try to kill me in Zabuza," Haku said, receiving a sympathetic nod from Karen, who herself had lived in constant fear of being killed by her clan's enemies, that she perceives a connection with the Yuki lady. Haki looked at her sister lover, who nodded in agreement and said, "Let's keep looking through these notes. We might find a new theory with chakra healing. You'll never know when that might come in handy." Right, Karen-chan. For the previous few months, Kurama and Tozen had been training together. She had done a good job of learning Bagwang in Taiwan, fusing the flowing movements of Bagwang with the swift and fluid movements of Taikwang, effectively producing a kind of hybrid. In addition, Tozen had taught freestyle jiu-jitsu, street-style karate, and kuromakino, providing a significant boost to her arsenal of hand-to-hand fighting strategies and tactics. So had her meditate for days on end, telling her that a martial artist's mind is just as important as their fists. By explaining it, she would be able to better regulate her thoughts and protect herself from the Ukiah clan Tsukuyomi and Kodo Matsukami, stating that the aim of both jutsu is to address the mind and spirit. Strong willpower allows one to significantly lessen, if not completely prevent, the effects of both jutsu. By adding a mental layer, the receiver would be able to thwart Kodo Matsukami's attempts at mind control. For the next 5 months, this continued. She had to battle the reinforced shadow clones of Soi and Tozen during her final month of training in the tower's training chambers. Her fighting abilities had significantly improved in battle. She is now on par with Tozen. She received praise for this improvement from Soi and Tozen. She developed the mental and physical discipline required to fight Ukiah clansmen thanks to her martial arts and meditation training. Tozen and Kurama's time together was filled with romance and love as they grew closer to one another. Tozen intends to ask her to marry him, but he'll wait and see. He had secretly visited a blacksmith to have a set of armor made for her future use. He had completed some metal work and added some finishing touches to the armor in question. Together, Kurama and Tozen had numerous adventures where they battled outlaws, rogue samurai, demons, assassins, and missing Nin. As the wild duo, the two gained notoriety. A pair of samurai Hidokari who work as independent mercenaries for villages that lack the resources to hire ninjas or were unable to defend themselves. They will receive half of the money up front and the other half later if they accept any missions from daimos or noblemen. When it comes to fighting, they have proven to be more than a formidable opponent. Currently, Tozen and Kurama are cuddling in bed at an inn while naked beneath sheets, with Tozen holding Kurama after a lengthy intense sexual encounter. They had just returned from killing the head priest of Kurami Oransu and stopped him from bringing back to life Nabunага, the sole leader and elite warrior. So Kurama-chan, how are you enjoying your freedom? Asked Tozen. Kurama leaned in to give Tozen a kiss, saying, "It feels like a dream come true, and I don't want to wake up ever." Tosa leaned in to give Kurama a kiss and said, "If that's the case, let's go another round so you can enjoy your freedom even more." Another round of passionate love-making between him and Kurama is about to begin. She screams with pleasure as she experiences ecstasy from Tozen's thrusting. Kurama thought to herself as she rode Tozen, "I can get used to this." The following morning, Tozen and Kurama go and collect the funds from their most recent mission to assassinate the head priest of a Kurami Oriansu chapter that had been kidnapping young girls from neighboring villages in order to make a significant large-scale sacrifice. It was too late for him to realize that two samurai assassins were aiming for his head. Then Tozen got on one knee and dragged Kurama to the side of a clean road. Kurama asked Tozen-kun, "What's this?" as she secretly felt both excitement and fear as though a momentous occasion was about to occur in front of her. "Kurama-hame, you have brought me joy and peace for the last couple of months. Ever since my lover Chud died, I thought I would never love another woman again. That is until I met you. At first, I thought you were an enemy with the enemy force. But that was until I started to talk to you, seeing you have a noble and fiery spirit. After you told me of your original identity, I didn't really care. I found it inspiring to know that the Keibi no Kitsune, a creature of malice, to have a spirit that wants to truly be free and not alone. I kneel down before you to ask you one question. Will you marry me?" asked Tozen as he extends an original design. Kurama is feeling astonished and amazed, a man who was indifferent to her history as a tailed beast. He saw her as a free spirit who had fallen prey to loneliness and slavery rather than a human woman who had saved him or a tailed beast. She leapt into Tozen's arms and gave him a passionate kiss, saying the one thing any woman in her situation would say. "Yes." Kurama breaks off their kiss and asks, "When is the wedding?" Tozen smiles and says, "I'm still making plans, but I believe I need to invite two particular people." Kurama inquired, "Who are they?" Tozen said, "Sarani Senu and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." While Kurama was a little taken back by the scene, but believed it was only appropriate. It would truly be a great opportunity to bury the axe if her last jailer was appointed best man, and the last surviving descendant of Hashiyama and Mito was a bridesmaid. She speaks up until she recognizes one aspect of the concept. "But wait, I thought that Naruto is dead, killed by his teacher Kakashi and his treacherous teammates," asked a perplexed Kurama. "No, he's actually alive. Apparently heaven had also brought him back as well." As he showed Kurama the most recent addition to the bingo book, Tozen responded, displaying Naruto in oddly constructed armor with a B to higher ranking in Shuriken Jutsu, Jinjutsu, Kenjutsu, and Taijutsu with a ceiling jutsu's ranking of A+. IWA has offered a 12 million real reward for his head. She is experiencing a lot of surprises today. She keeps reading the page until Tozen says, "Oh, I also have an early wedding present for you." At which point, he shows her the ring. Kurama is in awe of the design. It was engraved with a fox. Kurama gave him a tight hug and said, "Oh, Tozen, you honor me with this ring and its design." As Kurama revealed the armor he had worked on, Tozen said, "Oh, that's not the present. Kurama send chakra to your ring." She wore black pants with silver stripes, a pauldron for her shoulder, and dark silver arm and shin guards with a chest guard that matched her cup size. She wore a headband with the metal plates of the Senu and Uzumaki clan symbols. Kurama was truly having a memorable day when she saw the amazing armor in a mirror. Tozen believes that their future together will be an amazing adventure and experience that he will always cherish. Fast forward 2 weeks to the Special Operations Group's Bear Country base camp in order to attack the Fortress of Ruin, which conceals the forces of a breakaway sect of the Kurami Oriana Yaman number Orochi, and drive them away, while also providing them with some combat experience for future operations. Bear's Daimon had recruited both Tozen and Kurama to command a highly skilled and inexperienced battalion of Samurai Army Rangers and a rocket team. Together with the commander of the rocket operators and the battalion commander of the Rangers, they are organizing an attack on the river fortress of Marauders. Alright, you novices, pay attention. I would advise you to get plenty of rest and have your weapons inspected and prepared, because my dear him and I will be scouting out this fortress's defenses at night. Remember, use smokeless cooking. We don't want to give away our position," Tozen said as he and Kurama boarded a small stealth boat and headed out into the night. They started rowing towards the fortress while it was dark, carefully dodging the spotlights and guards while rowing towards the blind side of the fortress. They pulled out their climbing claws and started stealthily scaling the walls. "Toen darling, after this job, what should we do about the building of our family?" Kurama whispered. "I'm considering building an alpine compound in Fire Country's mountains. But after this, I'll see where we can construct the compound, because I need to purchase some land," Tozen whispered. The two arrived at the top of the fortress, where they saw demons guarding a door with an odd metallic design. Ahead of them, they heard shouting and arguing in a room, and when they peered in through a window, they saw two men arguing. Orochimaru, the renegade Sannin of Konoha and Snake Sage of Ruchi Cave, who had long black hair and pale skin, golden eyes with slitted pupils, and plain-looking but combative garb. The other man appeared to be similar to Orochimaru in appearance and paleness, but he had a different build from Orochimaru, a samurai armor. "As long as you do not obstruct my orders, Orochimaru, we have an agreement that I will not attack Konoha." As he receives a glare from the Snake Sage, the muscular counterpart retorted, "But if you get in our way, this will be war between our respective groups. Komodo, we will also follow the agreement. However, what ought to be done regarding this vengeful angel?" Orochimaru inquired. "I've heard that boy Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze has been killing your original predecessor order numbers with Tamasi," Komodo said. "Leave them to Yamada. He will deal with them." He pointed to an armored warrior who resembled a dark samurai and had a weapon that made both Tsubasa's sword and the Samahara of Kisame look like butter knives. The warrior was wearing a horned war helmet and demonstrated how to kill two burly-looking men with his bare hands and cut through 6 prisoners with a single blow of his enormous sword. Kurama and Tozen jumped toward the ceiling to hide from the Sannin. As Komodo and Orochimaru wrap up their business, Orochimaru exits the room. As miss an upload. Now wasting no more time. Let's begin. When NAR opens his eyes abruptly, he discovers that he is in a sort of city. He surveys his surroundings and is struck by the wonders of art, craft, and engineering. He would have kept searching until someone called out to him. When Naruto turns around, he sees a man wearing unusual battle armor with golden wings protruding from the back. Greetings, boy. I hope you have enjoyed the scenery around, but it's time for business, the man says. Who are you? Inquired A, shocked and inquisitive NAR. As he motioned for Narrate to accompany him toward a sizable structure, Michael said, I'm the Archangel Michael. Come, we have a lot to talk about regarding your death and an offer you really wouldn't want to refuse. Returning to the mortal plane, something inside of Haku boiled when she saw his teammates throw someone who somewhat resembled her off the bridge. She attacks the boy with duck hair with hellish rage, charging relentlessly into battle with a ferocity never seen in her before. Sakura yelled, Sasaki-kun, as she witnessed